This is the Wiiviewer!
And the LittlestWiiviewer!
And we're going to review
Legend of Zelda Minish Cap.
for the Wii U Eshop. And I guess technically the 3DS Eshop, because that came out there first, didn't it?
Ambassador program, so you really can't buy it unless you already own it, so...
Well, technically it came out for the Game Boy Advance first, right?
Yes.
And first off, I want to say, this is one impressive looking game. It was beautiful. I mean...
For being a GBA game, you mean?
Yeah, for other Game Boy Advance games, it looked great.
Yeah, it does actually look quite good for the console it was originally on.
You know what I find interesting? All the Zelda games seem to be pushing the envelope to the system that they're on. When you look at Link's Awakening, there was no other Game Boy game that looked anything near that. Did you ever play that game?
I have the DX version on my 3DS.
No, I'm talking about the real version.
The DX version has an extra dungeon.
Right, that's the fake one.
No, it's not.
Oh, what are you going to say? Mario 64 DS is the real version of Mario 64? Or is it Mario 64 Plus?
They're both real versions. It's just that the DS version is an extended version of that one.
Right, it's the afterthought version. So the real version is the first version. What are we even discussing right now? This is a normal thing for us, getting totally off topic.
You wake up and you have to do an errand.
That's original. Waking up in your bed.
You have to deliver a sword for some reasons. During that errand, something happens and someone just destroys something important and you get sent off to fix that important item.
You mean the sword gets broken? The sword that was holding the treasure chest of something?
Treasure chest held monsters. Person thought it held something else.
So this is like the 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo sort of thing?
What?
I'm sure there's 7 people out there who watched that 13 episode series and go, hey, I remember that Saturday morning cartoon.
Anyway, so you go off to meet the small people of the world, the Minish, or Picori as the humans call them. And the reason you do this is because kids are supposedly the only ones who can communicate with them.
What do they classify as a kid? Do they go, oh, you're 18 now, you're no longer a kid? Because Link's not exactly a young little boy. So basically the whole gimmick on this one is that you can turn small in specific areas.
Most of the time, it will seem to have like a sort of crack of sorts. For instance,
You mean the stump?
a stump with a crack in it, or the underbelly of a pot.
I thought the miniaturized thing was cool, except there's often times where it was like, okay, this counts, but this doesn't count. Like, there's this whole part where you're going through a rainstorm area when you're small, and you have to watch out for the droplets, yet you're walking in a normal map totally normally, and you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, but it is still pretty cool to have to avoid raindrops.
Well, I think it's really cool that sometimes, like, mud puddles that weren't a big deal for you to cross when you're big are like lakes to you now. So it's size perspective, and I thought the gameplay was great. I had a lot of fun with this Zelda game. There's some weird items.
Yeah, most of the dungeon items in this game are not traditional. In fact, I'd say most of them are not.
I mean, is there anything they've used in other Zelda games? Like that vacuum cleaner?
It kind of has a redesign in Skyward Sword.
What was the redesign?
The Gust Bellows something thing?
Isn't that a boomerang? Or am I thinking Twilight
No.
Princess? I've played so much
That's the
Zelda.
Gale Boomerang.
They all kind of merged together. I like Skyward Sword, but I know we're not going to get into that controversy.
There's like an item that can blow away dust and stuff like that.
Is that like the leaf that you're pushing?
No. Wrong game. That's Wind Waker.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. I'm sure everyone in the comments will go, yeah, idiot, it's called the Sucky Sword. It sucks everything up. Come on. Don't you know your Skyward Sword item history?
There's another item that is pretty much reused, the Mole Mitts in Skyward Sword.
Oh, yeah, I remember that, where you could dig.
Yeah.
Man, Skyward Sword was great.
2 items were derived from this game, apparently.
If it works, go for it.
More on the fact that items you get in the dungeons are not actual, like, traditional items. You get the bow, boomerang, and bombs all outside of dungeons.
How long do you think this game is?
Well, the main story is not that long. There's like 5 dungeons before the final one, so 6 in total if you're doing the math.
Advanced math there.
Which is pretty short, pretty much only being outclassed by Majora's Mask, which has 4 or 5 if you are counting the moon.
There were some side quests to do.
Yes, there were.
You were playing some weird mini game.
It's collectible figurines. The thing that you spend doesn't have any other purpose, so just might as well. It's cool though, since it gives you descriptions of some enemies and whatnot.
Did you like the dungeons?
The dungeons were interesting. They actually had, like, unique mechanics to them, which is pretty unique for a 2D game. The second dungeon, for example, has minecarts, and the first dungeon has a giant barrel in the middle.
Yeah, I thought the minecarts were funny because it would go real fast. Oh, you know what we didn't even talk about? The thing on his head. This lazy creature that wants to sit on his head. And he doesn't even act like it's a big deal.
Eslo, I think it is.
If you say so. I just call him the green thing that won't get off my head. Apparently Nintendo's like, how do you think Link got his cap? I guess this is how.
Although I do think the waking up animation is adorable because of him. When you're waking up, Link just shakes him awake. I find that adorable. The controls, you can only equip 2 items at once, and typically you're going to want the sword equipped, so there's kind of a small problem with that. Same with like other Game Boy Zelda games from the past.
And there was also a weird rolling mechanic. I thought that was like, okay, why does this guy love to do gymnastics so much?
It was brought in from the 3D games, which is kind of interesting. This is the only 2D game where you could roll. It makes you a little bit faster.
Why not just have him run?
Because they want you to mash a button?
Apparently. So, LittlestWiiviewer, The Legend of Zelda, the Minish Cap. Would you buy, sail, or skip?
I'd probably say that this is a definite buy. This is, I would say, the best Game Boy Advance Zelda game, but then again, there was the port of Link to the Past. I would definitely say buy, because this is, like, a really good game. This is among the best 2D Zelda games, if you want to go that far.
And I agree with you. Graphically looks great. The adventure is fun to go on. It's got an interesting gimmick to it, and I liked it a lot. So I said, yeah, you should go ahead and buy this game. Well, that's our review of The Legend of Zelda and the Minish Cap. Let's check out my last review of the adventure game, The Book of Unwritten Tales 2.
Or a classic review, because this game apparently inspired items from this game, Skyward Sword.
If you like, you can follow me on Twitter at Wiiviewer, and we thank you guys for watching.